What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today we are joined back in the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise here on Madden 22. First thing that we're going to do in today's video is we are going to be importing a draft class. Now, you guys voted on my community page on YouTube whether you wanted a realistic draft class with the real college prospects or a random draft class. I was actually surprised at how close this was. 55% of you voted for a realistic draft class with the actual college prospects, and 45% of you voted for a completely random draft class. Now, there were 220 votes, so I appreciate everybody who did vote in that poll. Like I said, super surprised at how close that vote actually was. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be downloading this draft class here, NCAA 2022 draft class. I did a little bit of scouting on it. It looks pretty solid. So the top 42 are in, which I'm pretty happy with. We'll at least have the first round worth of prospects. If there's anybody that is not on this file, or if there's anybody that you rather specifically want to see in this draft class, then certainly leave that name in the comment section below, and I'll try to make sure that they're in the draft class. Now, I'm not totally happy with this draft class. Like, some of these players don't look like their real life counterparts very much, if at all. This Spencer Rattler does not really, in my opinion, look much like him, and I feel like there are faces in the game that will better represent some of these players, so I may do a little bit of modification to this myself, but luckily we at least have the names, the colleges, the positions of the top players in this class, so we'll at least be starting off with a pretty solid draft class. Now, the next order of business here is we did go out and re-sign TJ Watt. That had to be one of my first orders of business. Now, from a realism perspective, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't negotiate contracts in season for the most part, so I don't suspect to see TJ Watt getting a contract anytime soon. I do suspect to see them pay him top dollar to keep him around. At the very least, they'll probably franchise tag him. The Madden salary cap is screwed up as always, so I have way more salary cap than I should. So TJ Watt is going to be coming back on about $27 million per year, which matches that of the other top pass rushers on the edge in the league. The next order of business here is a couple of moves that we made for the team, for the health of the team and the longevity of the team. So the first move that I made here was I brought in defensive tackle Harrison Phillip over from the Bills. Now, Harrison Phillip is a guy that is in the last year of his rookie contract. If we go over to the Bills, he's a guy that is on the trade block in real life and on the trade block in the game. With Ed Oliver and Damon Harrison Sr. in front of him, he did not project out to get very much playing time on the Bills, and he's a player that has shown flashes of greatness, and he can be a very good player, especially nose tackle, defensive tackle, the way the Pittsburgh Steelers can use him and the way that I will utilize him in the defense as a run stuffer, as a power rusher. I think that he is a good player that we can build up as the replacement for Tyson Alualu if he decides to retire or anything like that. The next order of business is the wide receiving core, so we decided to move James Washington and grant his wish. Now, what I did here to backfill the move of James Washington is I just brought up Dan Chisena from the practice squad. I don't believe that he is with the Steelers in real life, but he was placed on my practice squad whenever we advanced through preseason, so I'm okay with that. This is a guy that's 6'3" with really good speed, really good athleticism, and he's a guy that kind of fits that build that I think Ben Roethlisberger is looking for. So if Chase Claypool or somebody like that is out of the game, there is still an extra big body receiver that they can put in here that can potentially be pretty solid for the team, and I would like to try to develop him if I can. With that being said, though, I ended up settling with the Lions because of a couple of reasons. So number one, he slots in as a number 2 wide receiver here. Number two, I should say, he kind of brings youth to a group that doesn't have any youth. So Tyrell Williams is here. He's 29 years old. Brashad Perriman, not good, 27 years old. They do have Jalen Guyton, but this was a pickup off of another team's practice squad, so he's not actually there in real life. And then they have guys that aren't going to be good, like Damian Ratley. They do have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was a draft pick this year, who has some potential to be good. Regardless, in the game, he slots in as a number 2 here, and he is one of the most youthful players in this wide wide receiver core, so I think that's big. Number 3, he is being moved over to the NFC, so, outside of our conference, which is, something realistic that NFL teams do. So we shipped him off over here, and we actually ended up getting back a second-round pick in return for him. So he was selected as a second-round pick. I think that adding that youth to the team is going to be good. I think that they would be willing to give up a draft pick for him. I don't know that they would give up a second-round pick for him necessarily. I don't know if anybody would give up a second-round pick for him, but I held to the standard of you get back for a player where they were drafted. So he was drafted as a second-round pick. The Steelers, in real life, I can't see taking anything outside of a second or third-round pick in return for him because of how youthful he is and how good he can be. I think that he can be a legitimately great wide receiver in the NFL if given the proper playing time and the proper commitment by the coaching staff. So, I think that second, third-round pick was the right amount of value for him. I got a second-round pick back. I'm not going to make too many complaints about it. Let's go ahead and move into the next part of the video. You guys will see here up at the top of the screen in week 2 that we came away with a 38-7 victory over the Raiders. Now, one thing that I want to note is that we played pretty solid, but that win was on the back of a very impressive defensive performance. From a rushing perspective, Najee Harris struggled quite a bit. You could really see the struggles with the offensive line blocking against the Raiders, so he is down to 3.7 yards per carry. He did have like 80 yards in that game, but certainly something we're going to have to watch out for. I don't want to overuse him. I don't want to get him hurt, especially as a rookie running back, and I don't want him to have the traditional rookie running back season where he just falls off at the end of the season because of the wear and tear. So we're going to have to monitor that situation. I'm going to have to start getting Kalen Ballage and Benny Snell involved more and more, although I've only used them in short yardage situations, so I haven't gotten to see if they'll be super effective or anything like that. We do need to start mixing in our running backs quite a bit more, in my opinion. So in today's game, we're going to have the Cincinnati Bengals, and I figured I would bring you our first matchup against Joe Burrow. All right, guys, so we're here in Pittsburgh, and as we roll out here, you guys can see the uniforms we're wearing today. Harrison Phillips there on the field for the first time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, something that I wanted to note as we drop into this game and take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers at home today is I wanted to note that we did explore options at offensive line, and we're not done exploring options at offensive line, but honestly, good offensive linemen and decent offensive linemen are very few and far between on the opening roster here for Madden. So we probably don't have a lot of options in terms of trading for guys. Like, I thought maybe I could trade Eric Ebron straight up for a decent lineman in the 70s or something like that, but that's not necessarily realistic because player-for-player trades don't happen that often. They're not all that realistic, so certainly something that I wanted to just kind of put it as a note here before I hop into this game so you guys know what's going on with the team, and let's go ahead and see what we can get done here today against the Bengals. See if we can't move to 3-0 against a pretty evenly matched team on paper. We are opening up today's game with the ball, so we are in an overcast sky. Now, after today's game, depending on how things go, I might be looking to finally adjust the sliders. I wanted to at least get a few games here with the current slider set. And honestly, I think that the base sliders, at least so far based on what I've seen, aren't too bad or anything like that. I'm not going to be upset if we had to play on these, but I think that it is worth noting that this might be a little bit too easy of a base slider set this year. I feel like some of the changes they've made to the game might have made certain things easier, certain things harder, so we will be potentially looking to adjust our sliders as we move forward. Doing a good job here of moving the ball today. I think I like this format of giving you guys like the opening drive and then highlights from there, so let me know what you guys think. Very nice draft class. I did want to leave this up this time so you guys could see everybody that the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted this year. We're going to have 3 offensive starters from this draft class between Freiermuth, Kendrick Green at center, and then Najee at halfback. So, and I don't know what I'm doing running the ball, just a bit distracted as I'm talking, but Harris having a little bit more success early in the day on the ground. The Bengals are running more of a wide defense, so I think that that should help things out, although Completely missed block there by the center. The center should have had no problem picking him up. He comes back into the backfield and blows that play up. We are going to go for it here. We're at home. We're against the Bengals. We might as well try to make something happen. We're going to put Freiermuth on a tight end, and one of these guys coming across the middle hopefully should end up open. Claypool makes the catch, takes us down to the 30-yard line. Now this is when we start to have issues, when we try to run outside, so I think I'm going to reset this to an inside zone split, only because they are continuing to give us this kind of weak defensive front, and as you guys can see, we're having success against this. If they continue to give us this front where there's basically one linebacker in the box, I think that's going to be very advantageous for us. Let's go ahead and switch to tight end attack. I think it is worth mentioning that my number 1 and number 2 tight end at this point are Gentry and Freiermuth. Eric Ebron is honestly kind of taken out of the lineup, and that's why I want to trade him, because from a realism perspective for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they should really focus on developing Freiermuth and Gentry. Gentry being 6'8", Freiermuth being a big-bodied guy as well, I think 6'5", and he was really solid in college. We have our man in the end zone, and Juju Smith-Schuster gets us the touchdown. We're going to get the opening score of the day on the opening drive, something that the Pittsburgh Steelers have struggled with for years under Mike Tomlin, is getting opening drive scores. I mean, they really struggle with moving the ball early in the game. They're very much a second half team, and that's something that I'm looking to turn around with the new build of the team, especially with Najee. Najee should be able to grind out some yards on the opening drive of most games and get us downfield at least to get a field goal. You know, there have been, and I apologize for going off on a tangent, but there have been so many games, and the Steelers, I think, lead the NFL in 0-point quarters. It's like quarter 1, 0 points, and then all of a sudden in like the third and fourth, they just start blasting the scoreboard and putting up like 20 points per quarter. So we're looking to even that out and make the team much more consistent under my Mike Tomlin leadership. And here he is, the rookie Joe Burrow, strolling out onto the field. In our game planning, we noticed that the Bengals are pretty pass-heavy in terms of their game plan. Now, I don't know if that is due to them being behind, but you can see here early on they are coming out in passing formations and trying to pass the ball early. That's not a surprise, because Joe Burrow and the Bengals in their new look offense have been trying to pass the ball quite a lot in real life, and I think that they will continue to do that this year, especially now that they have their starting left tackle that was a first-round pick back. I know a lot of people question them not drafting a lineman in the first round, but I look at it and I'm like, well, they have a lot of talent on their offensive line. They have a lot of early draft picks and things like that, so I don't personally believe that they needed to add to the offensive line, and I'm more concerned that this year when they drop back to pass, they're going to have success because they brought in Jamar Chase, who has rhythm with Joe Burrow already. So good stop there on the defense. Who gets credited with that? Cam Hayward pulls him back before he gets the first down. So you guys can see what's going on with this team. It's a very defensive led ball team. Now, we have had success today on offense, and I'm hoping to be able to continue that. But this team is very much led by the defense and getting 3 and outs, getting turnovers, all those various different things we've been really successful with this year. Now, unfortunately, we went 3 and out, but it has led to a very successful Bengals drive so far. They've been moving the ball consistently as we end the first quarter. They're down here on the 17-yard line knocking on the door. They've been running a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, so we've been going with a lot of 3-4 stuff in zone coverages. Though they haven't been running the ball, I want to be prepared for it. Good tackle there by Minkah Fitzpatrick. They're down to the 2-yard line. Joe Burrow is 6 for 6 so far on the day, and they are finally going to come out in something heavier. We're going to try to prevent them from scoring a touchdown here. Let's see if this defense can't stand up and make a play. Nope, they run it to the right side. We're unable to get off any blocks, and Joe Mixon is going to tie this game up at 7 apiece. We are just starting the second quarter here, 9.5 minutes left to go. And on our very next drive, we drove down the field pretty easily and then ended up coming up with it was a 2nd down and 2. We took a shot downfield on play action and couldn't challenge the play, even though Pat Freiermuth caught the play action ball inbounds at around the 5-yard line. Brought up eventually a 4th and inches situation, which we couldn't get with Benny Snell running the football. He just got stacked up behind the line of scrimmage. With that being said, we then came to the Bengals drive where they got a 4th and 1 situation. Here, I thought I had it stopped, and this is what happens. So Joe Burrow drops back to pass, doesn't really have anybody open, but throws it to the curl, and then our man jumps in front of it. The ball teleports through his hands, and this guy's going to go for a touchdown. So that's Cam Sutton, who probably should have had his 3rd pick 6 of the season. The ball just goes right past his hands, doesn't get broken up or anything, has clear room. And so Tyler Boyd is going to then just walk it into the end zone because there's nobody there to be able to do much about it. Minka tries a last-ditch effort, and Tyler Boyd puts the Bengals up by a touchdown here with approximately 3.5 minutes left to go in the first half. And we need a big play here by the defense because Ben Roethlisberger gets picked off by, I think it's Jesse Bates, who jumped on top of a route and was able to make something happen. We're able to get Joe Burrow under pressure here, though. Finally, he throws the ball away, and they're going to have to punt it back to us with about 2 minutes left. So, luckily, we don't get any negative effects by the Ben Roethlisberger interception. However, we do need to put some points on the board before half because they are getting the ball at half. We have 1:49 to go downfield and do so. So let's try to focus up and get something done here. And man, we just can't get these balls on the sideline to go our way today. Ben Roethlisberger finds Chase Claypool in one-on-one coverage near the sideline. Chase Claypool does a great job of going up and getting it, but he comes down, and for whatever reason, that foot just steps out of bounds. So I don't know what Madden's doing there. Crazy, but we're getting unlucky on our throws to the sideline today.
That last play, and that means he'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Now it's Roethlisberger. That is caught by Smith-Schuster. And they will get...
Now I think what we're going to do, we managed to work our way down here. We're going to take a shot to the end zone with Claypool. Just toss one up and hope he can come down with an aggressive catch, and he does! What a freaking catch by Claypool to tie this game up before halftime. I want a replay of that one. Let's take another look at this. We found the one-on-one coverage. Ben Roethlisberger lobs it up. Bit of a bad spiral there on the ball, but Claypool goes up, high points that over Phillips, and another man comes down with both feet in bounds and gives us the tie before half. Absolutely huge catch out of Claypool. We needed a big play like that, especially with some of the troubles we've been going through with our catching on the sidelines and whatnot. Claypool bails us out and makes a beautiful, beautiful catch in the end zone. And Joe Hayden's going to get an interception. This is what I've been talking about. Joe Hayden does a great job of putting us in position to score. This has been the tale of the tape for this team all season long. The offense has had its struggles. That's to be expected. But this defense comes up in big situations. Joe Hayden jumps on an underthrown ball there by Joe Burrow, and I thought I was going to have an opportunity to take it back. He's a little too slow and a little too tired to take that one back, but we're here on the 23-yard line ready to score, so let's get it. Let's try to put this one in the end zone and see what we can do. Short little dump off to Juju Smith-Schuster, who picks up a gain of 12. Ben Roethlisberger, 2 touchdowns on the day. Let's try to utilize Najee a bit while we have the opportunity. Yeah, I'm all right with going with the counter here. They are kind of stacked up to the rear side. Good truck. Gets us down to the 5. Harris just keeps fighting. 70 yards so far on the day. Most of that coming through the first half. So great performance by him so far. And we're just going to, we'll run the trap play. We got blocks, and Harris gets himself into the end zone. That is officially his second NFL touchdown here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did have one against the Raiders last game. Despite his struggles carrying the ball last game, he did get into the end zone. This game, he's going to get in again, and that, my friends, is going to give us a 7-point lead on the Bengals' opening drive of the second half. And I want to highlight this play real quick as Cam Sutton bails us out on what could have been potentially a touchdown here by Tyler Boyd. So Tyler Boyd, for whatever reason, goes up to jump to get this ball. I don't think he necessarily needed to, but he goes up to try to secure this. Probably should have come down with it, does come down with it, but as he's completing the process of the catch, Cam Sutton dives in there, gets a hand on the ball, and makes a play. Now, that's not a fumble. That's just going to be an incomplete pass. But Sutton, who has been lights out for us so far this season, although he got burnt a little bit, does a nice job of recovering and making the play that he needed to make to prevent that touchdown. All right, and with 9 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, Joe Burrow has done a nice job of getting his team in position to score. They're knocking on the door at the 14-yard line. We'll see if our coverage can hold up and if we can prevent them from getting into the end zone. They are going to pick up quite a few on that play, although their starting left guard, Quentin Spain, goes down with an injury. So that brings up a 2nd and 1 situation, very close here to the goal line from the 4-yard line. Joe Burrow pressured in the pocket, throws the ball away. I was going to try to come up with T.J. Watt and try to get the sack. I think what we need to do is we need to blitz a little bit here. I don't know that we really have the personnel that I want to be able to blitz. And a good throw there by Burrow. Finds his target on the right side of the field. That's going to tie the ball game up as long as they hit this extra point. I don't know who that is that got the touchdown. Number 19 gets the touchdown. I did not catch the name on the jersey, and I'm not familiar with who that is. And we absolutely have to highlight this play here. Should have probably been running the football, especially with the defensive front that they were giving us. They were so far off the ball, though, that I thought it was a good idea to throw. And Ben Roethlisberger misses his target. So he's got Freiermuth open, wide open right here. So all he has to do is place this ball out in front of him. Instead, he throws it behind him at his back. And that's going to result in a jumped route interception here. And it's Phillips, the man that Claypool caught a touchdown over earlier to tie the ball game up, comes up with a huge interception. Actually does a really crazy job of returning this ball quite a ways. Now he gets a nice little juke move off there. He's going to get tackled down around the 27, 28-yard line, but that puts him in position to score again, and it's not looking good for us here in the fourth quarter. And I'm not even going to get to show you the full replay because it was a long play, so for whatever reason it cut it off all the way back here. But it was literally the next play. They do a toss to the outside to Joe Mixon. We were coming with a blitz pretty hard, and unfortunately Minkah Fitzpatrick unable to make the play here. Joe Mixon gets the touchdown and puts the Bengals up by a score with all that time left on the clock. So 7 minutes left on the clock. We're down by a touchdown here in the fourth quarter. And guys, I know it's not often that you highlight a punt, but we're all the way on the 25-yard line over here, and this rookie punter takes this ball and booms it all the way over to the opposite 20-yard line. Kerry Vincent Jr. misses his tackle, but then we get the tackle down here on the 20-yard line. So absolute great flip of field position there when we could have been backed up. I'm sure if we had Jordan Berry in there at punter, we probably would have gotten maybe a punt to the 50-yard line or something like that. Jordan Berry, worst punter in the NFL, worst punter the NFL has ever seen. But we're in a tough spot here. Ben Roethlisberger missing a lot of targets on a key drive last time around. We're down by 7. And the defense is going to have to come up big. We've been relying on them a lot, so honestly, to this point, I can't expect them to do it all. I can't expect them to do everything for us and bail us out every single time. It might be time for Haskins here. It honestly might be.
On second down, here's Mixon. Mixon hit it on the ball is out.
And here you have it. Joe Mixon does a fantastic job. And in fact, the offensive line does a fantastic job. But we're unable to get the tackle there. I'm not really sure what the heck that angle is with Devin Bush. Just completely whiffs. I mean, like, not even close. And I wasn't even user controlling him. Does a terrible job of taking an angle there. And Joe Mixon just trucks a man, plows his way into the end zone. Something that our running backs haven't been able to do much today. That's going to put us down by 2 touchdowns here with not a lot of time left in the game. Ben Roethlisberger, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the day. I'm going to be honest, we're taking him out. We're putting Haskins in. We don't have a lot of hope to be able to win this one. But to be quite honest with you, his arm has been really shaky here in the 4th quarter. So I don't know if he just needs a rest. I don't know what it is, but Haskins is going to come in and try to prove something for us. So Haskins is going to start off there with a nice little dump off to Najee. I'll take that all day long. Minute 23 left on the clock. There is still a possibility for us to come back here. Not guaranteed, though. Overthrows his man on the outside a little bit. Nice coverage there by Phillips. We probably shouldn't be throwing Phillips' way with everything that has happened so far. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. We're going to put Deontay Johnson on a streak here and hope that he might be able to get open. We do have one-on-one out there on the edge. Claypool in great position. Does come down with the ball, but not inbounds. Honestly, a pretty good throw by Haskins, all things considered. I don't know that I love this play. There we go. Okay, Deontay Johnson finally hangs on to a ball. Dwayne Haskins with a nice-looking throw. Minute left. We don't got much we can do here. We'll throw it up the sideline. Overthrown a bit. Haskins obviously not going to be the most accurate of quarterbacks. It keeps wanting us to run this double seams play. Why does it want us to run this double seams play so bad? I don't love it. We do have a man open there on the left side. Chase Claypool, if he can get there, very close. Very close on that one. Let's go ahead. Let's spread them out and try to go with the verticals play. We might be able to just get a catch open underneath. Good catch by Claypool. That'll bring up a... Let's take our timeout now. Save a little bit of time. See if we can't get something going on this 4th down. We do have a man open. Dwayne Haskins misses his target just by a couple of inches. So that's going to do it for today's game, guys. 35-21 is going to be the final score. Joe Burrow is going to take his knees. So, you know, slider-wise, you know, with the challenge we have here on this team, Ben Roethlisberger not being accurate, no real other options at quarterback. I mean, maybe we play Dwayne Haskins. Probably not. We probably go back to Ben Roethlisberger next game and give him another chance to try to prove himself. That's only 1 loss in 3 games. So about as much as you can expect out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's a pretty solid start to the season, all things considered. So that'll do it with Green Bay coming to town this week. This is going to be a near impossible matchup for us to win. We are sitting at 2-1, tied with every other team in the AFC North at 2-1. Now this, in my opinion, in terms of real life reflection, would be a good result out of the first 3 games. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Unfortunately, we come away with a loss. Hopefully you guys are excited for the next one. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe. Like I said, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.